Happy Martin Luther King Day. And what better day to talk about how Stevie and I programmed the synthesizers on his iconic song, Happy Birthday. And I'm proud that I played just a teeny part in helping him achieve his goal of getting Martin Luther King's birthday a national holiday. As it should be. We need to celebrate that man and his belief in nonviolence, achieving your goals through nonviolence, and his deep-seated belief that all people need to be treated equally and we all need to get along. And we still got work to do to achieve the dream. But I'm not here to preach. I'm here to tell you stories you want to hear about synthesizers, and that's I'm going to deliver. Here we go. What we did on that song, the main synthesizer sound, that kind of prickly, bubbly sound, came together in an interesting way. We used what we did is we used a Prophet 10 synthesizer, which was brand new at the time. This was in 1980, and Stevie wanted to run a vocoder into it, and it was completely his idea. The vision came from the blind guy. And it took me a minute to catch on because it was a different paradigm for me. Because for me, using a vocoder just always meant you plug the microphone in and then you do the robot voice kind of thing, right? But no, you can use vocoders. Anything can be the input. It doesn't have to be a microphone with a human voice. Any sound can be what the term is a modulator. There's a modulator and a carrier. And the modulator imparts, it listens, just to explain it real simply, it listens and then it imparts the characteristics of what it's listening to onto the carrier, which is usually a synthesizer, and it's best to use one that's very bright. So we were using the Prophet 10, which was, like as I said, was brand new. And it was two Prophet 5s in a giant box with two keyboards. And it was stereo. And the drum machine we were using was a Lin LM1, of course, in 1980. That's as one did. That was the state-of-the-art drum machine at the time. And Stevie programmed the beat, but then we got the idea to do it in stereo, because on the LM1 there were switches for each channel of it that were three-position switches. There was left, right, and center. So we got the idea if we had two vocoders, we could send some sounds of the LM1 into one vocoder for the left side to be the modulator for one half of the Prophet 10 for one Prophet 5. And I set up slightly different sounds for each layer, but pretty much the same. Just it's like a buzzy sound with some pulse width modulation, but also sawtooth waves. Because like I say, you want it to be as bright as possible, filter all the way open. And he programmed the beat, and it took quite a while to set up because we'd already been working with it when we got the idea to do it in stereo, and we had to hunt up another vocoder. The vocoder we used was the Roland vocoder. I think VM350 or VC350, I forget the exact model number, but it was the exact same model that I later used on the Wolf album with Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Is it nice vocoder, a nice little beast. But I've recreated that, but not exactly. I can't get exactly to it because 45 years have passed, and I don't have a Prophet 10. I don't have a LM1. I used to, and I used to have the Roland vocoder, but I don't have those anymore. So I've emulated it in software, and using plugins for the Prophet 10, using a emulation of the Moog vocoder, which had more filters than the Roland. The Roland, I think, had 10, and the Moog had 16. But without further ado, I'll let you hear the just the vocoders. And then we'll hear the full track just for a little bit. Because it's in stereo, the two different Prophet 5s. I used two instances of the P10 synthesizer, so I could pan them. I got them about panned around 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So if you listen with headphones, you'll be able to hear it. And if you listen to the original track of Happy Birthday with headphones, you'll be able to hear the stereo effect of that bubbling sound. And there was that on the track. Stevie played all the instruments. He played drums, bass, which I'm going to get to in a minute. The bass is one of his best tracks. He played piano and Rhodes and Fairlight. And the Fairlight was samples of background vocals. He had a bunch of background singers singing on the chorus and in the bridge, and he also sampled them, so he could play their sound as a chord. We did that a few times. I remember sampling his background vocalist for That Girl. That sound of those singers sampled on That Girl especially, it's just like having a bucket of liquid velvet and you pour it. Oh, it's just, I love that sound. The bass, he decided he wanted to use the computer music melodian, which was the first sampler ever made. It was built by a guy named Harry Mendel, and it used a DEC mini computer. This was before, this is just a couple of years before there was such a thing as a PC, as a personal computer. This is before the Apple II and before the, IBM and all that stuff. So if you had a computer, it was a mini computer. And the computer music melodian used a DEC, I forget the model number, but there's a Wikipedia article about it. But the interface of it was kind of daunting because it didn't have a monitor. It had a keypad and some lights, and that was about it. And we had written notes from Harry, who lived somewhere on the East Coast, I think New Jersey. And the computer music melodian interfaced with an ARP 2600 and controlled it, and became, you know, a single Frankenstein kind of thing. And what we did is Stevie got a bass, and we spent a lot of time just sampling one note of a thumb slap on that bass. And he did it, and I was the one operating the sampling, setting the levels and trimming it and getting it set. And that was a bit of a learning curve there, but we got that. It took a long time, and the other thing about the computer music melodian is there was no way to store the sound. Once the power went off, that it was bye-bye. And then another thing that happened is it started not responding. It had, it had a glitch, some kind of bug or whatnot. By this time, it's like, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning. And the only thing we could do was call Harry up. And I spoke to him on the phone, woke him up. He was cheerful about it. I'm sure it was not the first time that he got a call in the middle of the night saying, the melodian's not working. And so he explained to me the procedure to reboot it, because all you had, when you rebooted it, you also had to re-enter in the program and tell it where to look for this and that and the other. And it was just using a numeric keypad. You just a series of numbers and then hit enter, and then another series of numbers. And Harry's explaining this to me. Then he said, "You speak bass 8, don't you?" And I said, "No, not really. I could have tried to fake him out and say, oh, it's a second language to me, but no. I'm a synthesizer programmer, but I'm not a computer programmer. There's a world of difference. Twiddling knobs does not require speaking bass 8. But we got it going, and he played one of the most amazing bass lines. It was just, he was just like on it. And what I did to prepare for this video is I put the song Happy Birthday through a stem separator software and isolated the drums and bass. Mostly what I was looking for was to strip out the drums and the bass and the vocal and hear the other instruments track, so I could get closer to getting the sound, recreating the sound that we did all those years ago. But in doing that, I'm listening to just the bass, and I'm going, my God, I'd forgotten how incredible it is. So I'm going to put another video after this one. There'll be a link to it somewhere. It'll be on my channel, of strictly bass and drums, Happy Birthday bass and drums version, because it's amazing. His drum track is amazing, and the bass is amazing, and he's amazing, as we all know. That's why he's a wonder. And then another treat for Martin Luther King Day is a person who wished to remain anonymous sent me a very rarely seen music video that Stevie did for this song, and it's a beautiful thing. And you saw a little bit of it opening up this video. I'm going to put it in full. So we got 3 for the price of 1 today. You got this one explaining how the sounds were done, and then you're going to have a track of hearing the song with just bass and drums, and then you've got this great music video of Stevie. You see him playing drums, you see him sitting at his dream machine, the GX1. And that's it. So there you go. Enjoy it. If you have any questions, that's what the comments are for. I hope I explained it well enough. I mean, it's a complicated thing. It took Stevie a while to get through my thick skull that he wanted the drum machine to operate the vocoder rather than a human voice, as was my limited thinking. It's just a paradigm shift, that anything can get the vocoder to mimic it. And then to do it in stereo was a trip. But we could do it because the Prophet 10 was a stereo machine. It was 2 Prophet 5s in a big box. And all we had to do was round up a second vocoder. And the LM1 was a stereo drum machine. And, well, it also had individual outs. But, I mean, you could, with those switches, you could just turn. And I remember we would decide that, you know, the high conga be left and the low conga on the right or whatever. We fiddled around with that a lot. And it's a very subtle effect. And like I say, if you don't wear headphones, you may not get it. But all in all, it's just another incredible track by Stevie. It has otherworldly quality to it that doesn't sound like anything else. But then, you know, his voice comes in, and of course, it's him. But he has such imagination, and he's so good with synthesizers and orchestrating his songs. He has a great instinct for when he should play all the parts himself or when he should record things in full with the band. It just depends on the feel he wants, the way he envisions the sound in his mind. So that's the story. Happy birthday, Martin Luther King. Thank you, Stevie. Thank you for watching. And subscribe. If you don't subscribe, that's not right. That's like stealing. If you subscribe, you get good karma. And if you don't subscribe, well, I don't know what to tell you. We need more subscribers because we'll spread the word so everybody can hear these stories. All right. See you next time. Ciao.
Thanks to Martin Luther King. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.